the API we made kind of sucks. What do I mean by that? If we go look at the API we made last episode, it's just basic CRUD API. It's kind of cool. You can get a note, create a note, list, delete, update, standard CRUD operations, right? But why does it suck? Well, if you restart the server, you lose all your data. There's no sort of persistence. It's just all in memory. And as soon as that memory gets gone, your data is gone. So how can we improve that? A database, of course. So a lot of you guys really seem to enjoy the CRUD API, and there's a lot of comments and feedback around making it better. And next episode, we'll go scale to thousands of concurrent connections and make it maybe a little bit more production ready. I also saw a comment about maybe adding WebSockets, so we'll see where this takes us, but definitely like this episode, databases, another one scaling it, and whatever you guys want, leave a comment and go find out. And right before we get into the actual database part, there's a great suggestion to use the standard libraries JSON package. So I'm just gonna quickly go over the changes there, just a few lines. Let's get to it. And here's the JSON. So just like I said, we're importing the std.json. And now instead of having this like append note JSON helper, we can just directly do json.fmt on the items and then just pass it in to the body.print like this. And we just repeat that for every single spot. And then you can get rid of the append note JSON and append JSON string. And that's the changes. And if we go into the code, we can see everything's the same, except I have added the single docker compose.yaml that we see here. So this will just bring up Postgres for us. Make sure you have Docker installed. I'll show how to run it, but make sure you have this. Again, it's docker-compose.yaml. And now let's get into pg.zig. This is the package I'm going to use today. As we can see, it just makes it very easy to actually use it. There's a whole README. So let's just actually get into it. Let's copy that. And in a fresh terminal, just paste that in. So there we go. And if we go and look in our build.zig.on, it's in there. And now we actually have to add it as a dependency. Great. So we'll come into our build.zig and do pg module equals b.dependency pg and .optimize equals optimize and .target equals target. And then we'll also add the .module pg in there. And then it's a very simple import. Do .name equals pg and .module equals pg module. And then if we just make sure that builds, it'll take an extra second this time because it's building the module. And there we go. So we still have our same app, but this time the module is installed. Now heading into our code, first thing we'll want to do is actually import the new PG. And depending on your IntelliSense or LSP, it may take a second to load and restart. So sometimes you have to do an LSP restart. And there we go. So now it's loaded. And one thing, well, a quick one was this should just be a const text. And now let's start almost just ripping things out and making it exactly what we want. So remember, we're not going to store this in memory anymore. So we can get rid of really all of this. And now instead of holding it in memory, we will just have a connection pool. We'll grab that right from the Postgres package. And now let's do the actual setup. So if we just come in here, we're going to grab the exact example that it gives us, paste it in, and instead of allocator, it'll be net.gpa. Everything else will be the same, except password is going to be notes. And where that comes from is we go back to our Docker Compose. We just put the password as notes. Now when we create our app, it needs that pool. So .pool equals pool. So the first thing we have to do after initializing our connection is creating the table. So what I'm going to do is create this new SQL file, and let's call it create notes table.sql. And let's go into here. Now this will just be a simple. So we'll do a create table, if not exists, we'll call it notes. And then it'll be ID, it'll be a serial, primary key, then text will be text and not null. And if we head back in here, we can now execute it. So now I've created and listened on our server, and now we can do try pool.exec. So this is how we actually execute SQL. And then we can just do this simple thing of embed files. So I put all the SQL in separate files just so it's easier to maintain and look at and read. And then you can kind of just have your queries separately. But all this does is embed file will just put it as a string. And one thing we can't forget to do is get rid of that app.unix, doesn't exist anymore. Oh, and I had said something wrong before. Actually, the database is notes and the password is Postgres. I'm not sure what I was saying before, but we can see Postgres DB is notes and password is Postgres. So little mistake. One cut I just did is I've temporarily commented out all our actual helpers and kind of parsers and what actually processes, because I want us to get the server up and running. So what we're going to do is do a Docker compose up. And again, you need Docker installed, and then it should just work. So this is creating our Postgres database for us. And now if we run it, we can see it's connected. And I've just opened up Beekeeper Studio and connected to this exact same database. And if we look, we see notes and it has ID and text. So this is exactly the database we just created, and it created that table for us. So that's pretty cool. And that's why I want to comment out, because I just wanted to show how the SQL that we wrote, it has been executed, and we'll be able to monitor that eventually with our API, but right now with Beekeeper. Now let's keep going. Let's actually just write all the SQL up front, and they'll be easier to plug in. Okay, great. Now all these files are created, and I don't want this tutorial to be about how to write SQL. So just like I just did, I'm going to speed through creating all this, and then we can quickly just go over them. Okay, now that they're all in, let's go over it. So this is just inserting text, and then we interpolate the value. So make sure we're using the $1 so there's no SQL injection, and things get properly sanitized, and then we return the ID and text. Delete note, just delete it where the ID equals the input. Same with get note, get a note where the ID is the input. List all the notes ordering by ID, and then updating a note's text by ID. So now let's go back into here. And if you had commented out just like I did, let's just get these back. We'll need to call this app. And this one was const ID. And then we'll just get these all back. So now let's go in and write and actually implement the bodies. Okay, so right now we just had gone there from app.notes.items, but now we actually need to execute a query. So let's get a result. So from our app, we'll grab the pool, and then we'll execute a query. And just like before, we'll embed a file from SQL, and this is list notes. And then we will defer result.dinit. And now let's create the actual array of notes. std array list of note equals .empty, and defer notes.dinit app.allocator. Now let's process the actual query rows. So result.next, and we'll have a row. So now const ID be a U32. To incast it, try row.get I32 at the 0th position. So if we go back to list notes, we're going to have ID and text. So when we do row.get, we're getting it from that 0th position, which is the ID. And if we did row.get1, that'd be getting the text. And now try notes dot append app.allocator .id equals ID .text equals try. And now we can actually get that second one, row.get. In this case, it's a string. So a const u8 and 1. Okay? And then this body is going to be very much the same, but instead of app.notes.items, now it's just notes.items. So the rest of that, like I said, just stays the same. Okay, and we're actually going to write just our only helper function, which is going to help us with a few of these, which will just take a query, which is a row, and then respond with JSON back. And let's write it. Great, that's the definition. So if we just do const ID, u2 equals app incast. So this is a lot of what we kind of just saw. Get I32 in the 0 spot. And then we'll actually create a note from it. ID equals ID dot text equals try, and then again row.get const u8 of 1. I just copied a block from above where we created a note, and this is the code we already had, but now we're just passing in status. So now this should make it just a lot easier for us. This one is not too bad. We'll just get a row, and some code here will be similar. So app.pool.row, and then embed files we were doing. SQL, it's going to be get note this time. And this time we also actually pass ID in. And now we have the row. So we have to defer row.dinit, catch any error. And now we don't need really all of this, but instead it's just going to be that helper we just wrote, request app row. Okay, and there we go. So if it fails to get anything in the row, it'll respond with a note not found. Otherwise, it'll just send back that note. And now let's head over to create notes. So we're actually going to get rid of all of this. And now we'll grab that row, app.pool.row, embed file of SQL, and this one was create note, not table, but just create note. And this time the input was text. And then if that fails, we'll just return error dot query failed. Just missed doing an equal sign there. So then we'll just do a row.dinit, same catch. And again, if you should have proper logging here if things fail, but then all we need is respond note request app row and create it. Nice. And we just have a couple left. So let's just keep going. Update note. In this case, we're going to do our row equals try app.pool.row and same embed file, SQL, update note. This one needs text first and then ID. And then we'll have an or else. In that case, we actually come and grab this and paste that in. And now we can get rid of the note up here. There we go. So then we have row and then same as everywhere else. We'll just catch that. And we can free all of this because we'll just have a respond note. I'd actually say in general, we're writing less code than we did with the in-memory one, which is, I think, pretty interesting. Like a database is actually a little easier to set up. There we go. All right, let's do delete note. So const affected equals try app.pool.exec. And for the final time, this one will be SQL delete, and then we'll pass in the ID. So let's go in here. So if this is optional, so if affected or else 0 equals 0. So essentially, if it returns 0, it means it wasn't affected. Or if it returned nothing, we're just going to say it was 0 and then say note not found. And in a perfect world, that is all the code. So let's see what happens when we try and build it. Let's do a run. So it's running. We have Docker up here. So let's just open up a new terminal. And now let's do that make list. Okay, that's awesome. So nothing kind of crashed or yeah, so nothing bad happened. So now let's try and actually insert a row. So if we do make post, we can see this and make list. And the real thing we want to see is in the database. So let's just do a select star from notes. And there we go. We have the text learn Zig. It's in our database. And so we're truly have a database. And again, what was the main reason? We want it to not go away. We want it to preserve across reruns. So if we cancel rerun, we can see we do a make list. It's still there. Make post. Now we have a couple, and let's do a make update, make list, and then heading back to Beekeeper again. Let's just run that same query. And then we see ID. It's updated from the text. The text is updated. We have the IDs. It's all here. Let's do a make delete, run it one more time, and then the one with ID 1 is gone. That's all the code for today. It was, like I said, overall, I think there's less code than what we used to have. And it's very simple. Big shout out to whoever put together the PG package. It was a lot easier than trying with the native C driver. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I had a lot of fun with this one. It was surprisingly easy to just add a database in. We already kind of had our structure and all our APIs. So I thought it was pretty easy. It was also nice seeing a native Zig package for Postgres. It makes this a lot easier than trying to bind with C. I tried it out. I thought about doing it, but I also thought there might be some people who like don't use C or anything like that. So I found that the Zig package, it was great. You know, it fit our need, it works. And yeah. So again, if you're excited about this, like, subscribe. There is going to be at least one more video again, like I said at the beginning, on scaling this to thousands of concurrent connections. That one I'm going to wait until the kind of IO Uring part is done in the new Zig IO, because I think that's going to be the best approach from what I've played around with. So once that's finalized and networking works there, it's kind of like green threads or Go routines if you've used other languages. And that's what I want to play around with the series. So once that's done, finalized in the language, I will definitely make the video. Yeah, if you're excited for that, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, there's a Discord link down in the description. Come say hi, come chat. It's always fun talking to you guys. Yeah, have a great day.